Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we're gonna present a Mudarabah. Ismi Arba'ina binti Muhammad Azman, and my members, another members is Siti Aisyah binti Baharum, Nur Mawadah binti Muhammad Taib, Arifah Syakira binti Ahmad Sabri, and Nur Ain Fatihah binti Abdul Hamid. Mudarabah. Mudarabah is literally derived from the words dab, which mean walking on earth. The term Mudarabah originates from Arabian language, in which for Hijazi, the term Kirat or Muqaradah is used. Technically, Mudarabah is a profit sharing contract between an entrepreneur, Mudarib, and a capital provider, Rob Al-Mal. Hanafiya define Mudarabah as Auzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Aku dari syariah kata fi ribhi bimali min janib wa amali min janib, meaning the contract of partnership in profit where the capital is contributed by a party and the labor is by another. The main purpose of Mudarabah contract is combining the financial capital and laborship, which mean human capital for investment purpose and skill employment. Okay, next, Mudarabah as profit sharing arrangement simultaneously carries the objective of risk-sharing. The noble objective of risk-sharing in Mudarabah is significantly based on the trust between the Mudarib and Rob Al-Mal.
So for the legality of Mudarabah, there's three of them. The first one, the Holy Quran. The meaning is, and others traveling throughout the land seeking the bounty of Allah. The second one is the Sunnah, which is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam practiced Mudarabah by managing Khanijah radhiyallahu anhu business using her capital before his prophethood. So this practice demonstrates the legitimacy and acceptance of Mudarabah in Islam. So for the last one, the Ijma. Muslim scholar anonymous agree that Mudarabah is a permissible contract and it is accepted because it's benefit both the capital provider, Rob Al-Mal, and the entrepreneur Mudarib by complying the Sharia principle. So there's two types of Mudarabah. The first one is Mutlaqah. The definition is a Mudarabah contract where the capital provider, Rob Al-Mal, does not impose any restriction on the entrepreneur, Mudarib. The characteristic is no restriction imposed by the capital provider. The second one is entrepreneur has full authority to manage the business. The third one is business decision are made independently by the entrepreneur, and the fourth is offer greater flexibility in business operation. The second type of Mudarabah is Muqayyadah. The definition is a Mudarabah contract where the capital provider, Rob Al-Mal, sets a specific condition that must be followed by the entrepreneur Mudarib. So the characteristic is a capital provider sets a specific condition. The second one is entrepreneur must comply with the agreed terms. The third one is restriction may include the type of business, location, or investment period. The last one is provide greater control for the capital provider.
Next, main elements of Mudarabah. First, contracting parties involve Rob Al-Mal, capital provider, and Mudarib entrepreneur. Rob Al-Mal provide the capital while the Mudarib manage the business. Both parties must mutually agree to the contract terms. Second, format, sirah. The contract is formed through offer, ijab, and acceptance qabul. It may be verbal, written, or by conduct. All terms must be agreed upon before the contract begins. Third, capital. Capital is provided entirely by the Rob Al-Mal. The amount must be known and clearly specified. It should be delivered to the Mudarib for business purpose. Fourth, management. The business is managed solely by the Mudarib. The Mudarib must act honestly and responsibly. Management follows the agreed terms of the contract. Fifth, profit. Profit is shared according to a pre-agreed profit sharing ratio. The ratio must be in percentage. A fixed profit amount cannot be predetermined. 6. Loss. Financial loss is borne by the Rob al-Mal. The Mudarib loss only time the effort. If the loss is due to the Mudarib, negligence or misconduct, the Mudarib is responsible.
Now, I will explain the implication of Mudarabah. First, a Mudarabah contract begins when the Rob al-Mal, who is the capital provider, transfer the capital to the Mudarib, who is responsible for managing the business. Once the contract takes effect, the Mudarib has the authority to manage the business and make business decisions, especially under an unrestricted Mudarib arrangement. In addition, responsible business-related living expenses may be covered using the Mudarabah capital based on accepted business practice or URF. If the business earns a profit, it will be shared between the Rob al-Mal and the Mudarib according to the profit sharing ratio that was agreed upon at the beginning of the contract. However, if the business suffers a genuine financial loss, the Rob al-Mal bears the financial loss, while the Mudarib loses only the time and effort invested, provided there is no negligence or misconduct. Now, I will explain the termination of Mudarabah. A Mudarabah contract may be terminated if either party commits misconduct, negligence, or breaches the term of the contract. It can also be terminated if both parties mutually agree to end the contract. Besides that, the contract automatically ends when the agreed contract period expires. Lastly, the contract will also terminate if either party dies, is dissolved, or lose legal capacity. In case early termination is allowed if the business has not yet commenced on both parties agree to terminate the contract under the agreed terms. In conclusion, the implication and termination of Mudarabah ensure that both parties clearly understand their right, responsibility, and obligation toward the business relationship. Thank you.
Application of Mudarabah. We have 4 application of Mudarabah. First, investment account customer provide capital. Islamic banks manage investment and also profit are shared according to the agreed ratio. Number 2, business financing. Banks finance entrepreneurs who have business expertise but lack capital and supports business growth without interest, which is riba. Number 3, Islamic investment fund. Funds are invested in a Sharia-compliant asset and managed by professional fund managers. The last one, number 4, SME financing, suitable for startup and small businesses. It also encourages entrepreneurship and economic development. Next, BNM Sharia Policy Document on Mudarabah. We have 6 BNM Sharia Policy Document on Mudarabah. The first one, contracting parties must involve Rob al-Mal, capital provider, Mudarib, investment manager. Both parties must have a legal capacity. Number 2, capital must be clearly identified. An amount must be non-provided by the Rob al-Mal and it also cannot consist of debt. Number 3, profit sharing. Agree before the contract begins and based on a percentage ratio, and it cannot be a fixed monetary amount. Number 4, loss. Financial losses are borne by the Rob al-Mal. Mudarib is liable only if losses result from negligence, misconduct, fraud, and breach of contract. Number 5, business activities must involve Sharia compliance, which is halal businesses. Prohibited activities include gambling, maisir, internet-based transaction, riba, alcohol, and also other non-halal industries.
And the last one, governance and risk management. Maintain proper documentation and monitor investment performance. It also implement internal control and ensure continuous Sharia compliance. The next one is critical Sharia analysis and scholars' discussion on Mudarabah. The first one, capital contribution, Rab al-Mal and profit sharing. From BNM policy, the first one, traditional scholars analysis. Majority of classical scholars agree that the capital must be clearly specific and provided by the Rab al-Mal. Profit also must be distributed according to a pre-agreed ratio, while financial losses are borne by the capital provider unless negligence occurs. Number 2, modern scholars analysis. BNM and AAOIFI allow capital contribution through modern banking system, including electronic transfer and digital record, provided transparency and proper documentation are maintained. Number 2, risk allocation and loss bearing. From BNM policy, critical analysis in Mudarabah loses by the capital provider, while the entrepreneur Mudarib loses only the time and effort invested. Scholars emphasize that this principle ensures fairness and prevents unjust enrichment. Number 2, scholars' discussion. Contemporary scholars support this agreement because it promotes entrepreneurship and investment while maintaining Sharia compliance. So the next one, number 3, restricted Mudarabah, Mudarabah Muqayyadah versus unrestricted Mudarabah, Mudarabah Mutlaqah. From BNM policy, number 1, traditional scholars analysis. Classical jurists recognize both forms of Mudarabah. In restricted Mudarabah, the capital provider set specific conditions regarding the business's activities, location, and also duration. Number 2, modern scholars analysis. Financial institutions prefer restricted Mudarabah to reduce risk and strengthen governance, while unrestricted Mudarabah offer greater flexibility to entrepreneurs. And the last one, operational issues in modern banking. From BNM policy, number 1, critical analysis. Islamic banks face challenges in monitoring the entrepreneur's activities and ensuring accurate profit reporting. And number 2, scholars discussion. Modern scholars encourage strongest governance, transparency, and Sharia supervision to protect the interests of all parties involved.
So, in conclusion, Mudarabah is a fundamental partnership contract in Islamic finance that promotes fairness, trust, and shared responsibility between the Rab al-Mal and the Mudarib, whether in the form of unrestricted Mudarabah or restricted Mudarabah. The contract provides a Sharia compliant mechanism for financing and investment based on profit sharing rather than interest. Supported by the Bank Negara Malaysia Sharia policy document, Mudarabah ensures transparency, accountability, and compliance with Islamic principles, contributing to the stability and sustainable growth of Malaysia's Islamic financial industry.